Hello and welcome. My name's Kennedy from the Backstage with Kennedy podcast. I'm here with Dave, and seems to be the rest of the boys from Dragged In. They're in the background there. Really excited for this one. Dragged In is a hardcore band from Toronto. They've been successful in bands in the past, and they just released an awesome new LPI. They formed in 2015, so I'm super excited to have these guys on the podcast. We got a lot to talk about. So, Dave, how you dealing with quarantine, buddy?
It's been different, that's for sure. I mean, I've been lucky enough that I've been working the whole time, just doing it from my living room. So at first there was a bit of an adjustment, getting used to not being able to leave the house because, we're out pretty often doing music things or going to see bands most nights of the week. And so to not be leaving to do anything was the main adjustment for me. But, I know there's a lot of people that are having a lot harder time with it, so I can't really complain.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like it's kind of the same feel of when you get back from a tour and you're kind of just waiting for something to do, but you just can't, like, you know what I mean? It's not going to add up to the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different kind of anxiety and restlessness, I guess. But yeah, I guess it could be comparable.
Okay. So Dave, you play bass in this band. What if you could name like an inspiration on bass that you have had who's currently playing or played in the past? Who would you say?
So a couple people for me, I'd have to say Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath, just because I like the way he always wrote his parts. Dope. And he also plays with his fingers, which I've kind of always done. And then also Adam Yauch from the Beastie Boys. He's another one. And then I'd have to say also Craig Satari from Sick of It All. Those would be probably the three main influences that I draw from.
I think those are pretty good influences to have, especially if it is showing up in your music in any way. You know what I mean? So you guys were in bands such as Brutal Youth and End Program. What made you decide to start the band back in 2015?
So Patty's still in Brutal Youth. He's the guy usually covered in blood and a Weird Al shirt. And yeah, so Bruce used to play in End Program. I always End Program for me was one of my favorite bands in Toronto. They were incredibly heavy, and I played with Bruce since I was about 14 in various bands. One called the Feds out of Lindsay, and also the singer of End Program is that. So we were always friends with Cox as well, and that's how he became the guitar player for End Program. Actually, he took over from somebody because he was buddies with the rest of them. So anyway, known those guys forever. So Bruce filled in on Deadmau5 for a while towards the end of their kind of journey, and he was playing with Marty and I in that, and we just kept going, and we had a good time kind of wrapping that up, and then we just kept jamming after, never really stopped, and that's how this came to be. We just had a bunch of riffs that we wrote and a bunch of new tunes, and then we got Patty involved, and then Cox came in after he mixed our first EP that we did.
Okay, so that's pretty interesting. Like I find that you guys do have like a really aggressive core sound. It's the guitar is fantastic on it. That's one thing that really caught my ear was I couldn't believe how good the guitar was.
Marty's smiling when you say that one. He's smiling, right? He has a mask on. As you can see.
Yeah.
He's smiling. Hey, 6 feet, bud. 6
feet. Come on, Marty.
We know it's a party under 2. 6 feet, please.
So if you guys could explain your sound in any way to somebody who hasn't heard your music, obviously they should go check out your music, but how would you explain it?
Well, you said aggressive. I think there's a little bit of that. I think there's a lot of groove to a lot of it. There's definitely some elements of stoner rock, I'd say for sure. Like I've heard people when they first heard us kind of say stuff about Sleep, which I haven't really listened to a lot of Sleep, but I know Cox has. Anyway, so it's found its way in there as an influence. And there's definitely a lot of kind of street punk meets Fugazi comparisons I've heard. Rock and roll kind of vibe to it. I like to think of some of the weirder kind of B-side Black Flag stuff at times too. So there's a lot of different influences we draw from. I think it just kind of reflects our personal tastes.
Okay. So Dave, obviously businesses are really struggling right now because of the what's going on right now with the quarantine and stuff. Give a shout out to your favorite restaurant. What's your favorite spot in Toronto to eat at?
Uh, what kind of food are we talking about?
Any food you want, man. What's the go-to?
So, they're probably not doing too bad because they are usually pretty busy. But one of my favorite places in Toronto is Batondo's Pizzeria on Clinton.
I was there not long ago.
Probably the best slice of pizza you'll get in Toronto. Yeah, but that's not where you want to go for sandwiches. Their pizza is where it's at. So I'll give a shout out to Batondo's.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that place out. I live out in the West End, out in Mimico, so I got a place across the street from my house. So I haven't really been leaving my block, but I'm gonna go check that out.
What's pizza all about?
I haven't been there yet.
Yeah,
I haven't been there yet. There's a place called Rome Pizza. Some young guys that just opened up like a couple months ago, and yeah, they terrible timing to open up, to be honest. Yeah. But great pizza.
That's good.
So if you could build like your favorite lineup, a lineup that you guys would want to play on, I guess maybe take one band from each person, what would that lineup be, and where would that show be?
Okay. Could it be a band from like it has to be an active band, or could it be any band ever?
Any band ever.
I'd go like early 80s Bad Brains. Marty
goes with Converge.
Marty's saying Converge.
Okay.
Yeah. Bruce is saying Fugazi. I would pay to see that show, and I would haul all the gear to play that show.
I'd play for free.
I absolutely would pay that. Yeah, I'd probably sell tickets to play that show. Yeah. Battle of the Bands, we'd lose, but I'd sell tickets to play that show.
That would be a wicked show. What venue would it be at?
What venue? I'd say Opera House. I'd also love to see a show like that at some place like the Rivoli. I think because like a smaller place like that, if it was packed and people just went crazy, would be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Soy bomb.
Yeah, Soy Bomb could be cool. But I say probably Opera House, or if it was had to be a smaller club, something like the Rivoli.
So you guys actually, was a hip hop artist. And I actually
aren't you gonna be dropping some bars tomorrow though?
No, I'm not gonna be dropping bars. I'm just hanging out. We're just gonna do kind of a thing. Like I want to support all the people that have come on the show so far, and I want to just have fun and hang out and make it like a quarantine party. So that's kind of just hanging out and drinking some beer, and who knows if I get loaded or not, and play some good music. So I'm just going to be basically introducing songs all night and hanging out.
That's cool. I got the impression from the ad that you were going to be rapping or something, but
oh no,
you're just hosting the party. That's cool.
I shifted the focus to the podcast, so we're going full out on this. But
cool.
So when I was performing, I played in Hamilton at Halo Studios in their performance room. I know tracked, I believe, your drums in Halo Studios. Was it the old Halo or the new Halo?
It was the one above This Ain't Hollywood. So that was the old one. I think
that's
yeah.
That's sick. That's OG now.
Yeah.
How was it working with those guys?
It was great. We had a great, we did it over the course of I guess the Easter weekend, or was it just after Easter weekend? It's towards the end of April, I think, a couple years ago. And yeah, Ronson was the engineer that worked with us. Yeah, he was great. And I think he did some sound gigs too at This Ain't Hollywood as well.
Our guys had a funny name there.
Marconi, he was there for a little bit of it too. So yeah, it was good. It was a good weekend. Good guys. That it was chill. That's kind of why we went with them. Is we knew what we could kind of expect to get from there.
Yeah.
And they came recommended from our friend Chuck Coles, who said that they had a great experience with his band Rules recording in there, and yeah, that's kind of how it all came about.
That's my boy Chuck. Chuck's my mentor. He's a very good friend of mine. So I can
see he taught you how to wear your toque.
Did he?
That's definitely his move. The way you're wearing it right now. Yeah, totally
I've known Chuck. I've known Chuck for years now, man. He's a good person. He's a good dude. Yeah, he probably did teach me that, but I got a little more hair under this though.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out Chuck Coles. So what would your favorite show be that you've performed so far, Dave?
Well, I think Save It All at Montreal and Puza was a fun time. But the DRI show, the first one a couple of years ago, the one, it was in July, that one? One was in July. Was
your first show?
Or,
The second 44 Fest.
yeah, the second 44 Fest. The first 44 Fest was fun too. That was a great time as well.
That was your first time back or something, right?
Well, the second one was their first time back, and yeah, like DRI's first time back, by the way. So that one's probably our favorite for sure. It was a great vibe, great show, and it was incredible to see DRI in the flesh after however many years of being a fan, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that show was great lineup of bands.
100
Demons, All Out War. Yeah, it was good. It was a good night.
You guys said Puza Fest there. You mentioned Puza Fest. Are you on the bill next year, or are you guys doing that one?
We don't know. They're kind of they I don't know if they're going to repeat this year's next year. I don't know what's up with that, because they had to cancel this year's lineup, and they said they're bringing it back next year. So who knows? If if a spot opens up, we'll hopefully be out there. I'd love to play Montreal. I always had a good time when we've been out there, and the people at Puza have been great.
Yeah, that I was supposed to go to this festival. This was actually going to be my first year of going to Puza, and I was so excited. I made a lot of friends that were playing, so it was going to be a great year. But it's a shame. It's a shame. So now that you guys have this LPI out,
it's LP1.
Sorry, LP1. My bad.
That's cool. It's cool. It's hard. It actually isn't an uppercase I, but it's because they don't have a Roman numeral that works in iTunes.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you have this LP1 out, and it happened during quarantine, are you planning on going on a tour at the end of the quarantine? Like, obviously, everything's kind of up in the air with this. You don't know when it's going to end, when shows are going to start going again, but.
Yeah, so we were supposed to go and play the Canadian dates with Sick of It All and Agnostic Front in Quebec City, Montreal, and Toronto. But those got postponed to the end of August. I'm not thinking it's looking good for that happening, but I don't know, never say never until they cancel it. But whenever those happen, we'll be doing that. And yeah, we'll definitely be going out and playing. If, the border doesn't open and we're allowed to play shows, we'll definitely head out that way and play some shows. And if that tour ends up getting put back together and coming back like they say it's gonna, it'll be awesome to be included on it.
Yeah, it'd be nice to go on tour with Agnostic Front. That's for sure. Those guys are guys are killing it. All right. Well, I like to keep it super short and sweet, and I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having us.
Yeah, you have yourselves a great day, and stay healthy out there. And thanks for coming on. And we'll grab a drink when this is all over with. All right?
Yeah, man. Hey, gotta ask, what's your favorite song on the record?
Unsinkable, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's one of our favorites too. That's why we started the record off with it.
That's what I'm going to play tomorrow.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah. So make sure to tune in, guys. All right.
Yeah.
Take care. All right.
Have a good one.
Easy.
Later.